Hi, welcome to my channel and thank you for clicking on this video to find out a little bit more about different things you could read and listen to that will teach you some more things about pageants that might help you if you are a pageant newbie. So I started pageants just over a year ago now, and there's definitely things that I found along the way that have really helped me, or things that people have recommended to me that I found really useful. There's podcasts to listen to, a book that I read, and some different blogs and websites and those kind of things. So what I'm going to do is just run through the different things that I think you should listen to, watch or read that will help you in your pageant journey as a newbie. So actually one of the first things that I did as a pageant newbie was look if there was something that I could read that would start to give me a little bit more of an insight into the industry. It was something I was completely new to. I had nobody really to ask about it. So I thought the best thing to do would be to do some reading. So I managed to find a book that I actually found really useful. And the book is Beauty, Truth and Grace. And it's by Alicia Darby. And she also has a podcast which I'm going to mention later as well. But this is like pageant coaching in a book. So that's the book there. Oh, I dropped something out of it. So yeah, that's the book there. I bought it from Amazon, I believe, and it wasn't too expensive. And the book is broke down into sections. So just to give you an example, chapter 1 is positioning yourself to compete. Chapter 3, understanding your judges. There's a section there about building a powerful platform. Nailing your interview, preparing for pageant week, how to be the best title holder you can be when you're lucky enough to win your crown. So definitely lots of different things in there that are really useful, and for me it was just a great starting point and something that I really think did me the world of good right at the beginning of my pageant journey. You hear a lot when you start about doing appearances and those kind of things, and if you've never done it before it's very hard to know what those things actually mean, and especially having a platform, and what does having a platform mean, which is where the next thing that I did came in really useful. So the next thing that I did as a pageant newbie was book into the How to Win a Pageant workshop with Grace. I will put some details in the description box of everything that I talk about today, so you can go and have a look yourself. But I went to that in London, and it was all about having the correct mindset, having that winning mindset, structuring answers to questions in interview and those kind of things. And that was another really great starting point for me, and something that I feel like built a really solid foundation for the rest of the work that I did during my last year and a bit in pageants. An interview that I actually did recently before I went to Galaxy International. So if you didn't know, the first pageant that I competed in was Galaxy UK, which was in March, and I came second runner-up, so in third place. And it was a really amazing competition. All the women that were in it were absolutely brilliant, so I was so pleased to have been able to achieve that. So I went on to then compete in Galaxy Ireland. So my mum's Irish and my dad is English, so I was very lucky to be able to compete in both. And I competed in Galaxy Ireland to represent my grandma, who is from County Mayo. And I went on to actually win the title in Ireland and became Mrs. Galaxy Ireland. And then I went to Orlando in August to compete in the Galaxy International pageant, which was just an absolute dream come true, and something that I never ever dreamed that I would be achieving and going to do when I started my pageant journey. And probably these things that I did and the work I put in to learn about pageants really helped me to grow quickly and learn as much as I could. So I was saying the interview, I did an interview before I went to Galaxy International, and that was with Adrian from the Pageant Project. So I would really recommend making sure you're following the Pageant Project on Facebook and Instagram. And they also have a website, and he has this all the interviews as podcasts on things like Spotify. So I'd really recommend following the Pageant Project, because he does interviews with lots of different people from different backgrounds, different levels of competing. They've been competing for different amounts of years, and you can really get a lot of knowledge from watching those interviews. and he also posts quotes and things a lot and starts different conversations and debates in pageantry. So I think being on pages like that is really important so that you can be involved in the conversation, hear what's going on, and also start to contribute and get your face and your name out there in the pageant world and start to build those relationships with people. Another page that I think it would be really useful for you to follow is Sparkles and Rhinestones. So Sparkles and Rhinestones is a website, it's got a Facebook page and everything like that as well, and it's run by Hannah Golding, and she's been competed in pageants for a very long time and is very knowledgeable around pageants. So she's also been doing interviews with different contestants and queens, and she does Queen Saturday where she puts a spotlight on a person each week. So I think that's another page that's really useful to look at, especially if you want to know more specifically about pageantry in the UK, because the Pageant Project, Adrian's actually from Australia, so that's more of a worldwide view on pageantry, whereas Sparkles and Rhinestones is a great one if you want to know a lot specifically about the UK pageant scene. So I definitely recommend having a look for that. And she's also just released a pageant Bible as well, which is a handbook similar to the one that I showed you earlier, that goes through all the different parts of competition and how she thinks you can put your best foot forward. So that's another thing to definitely look out for. Something that I didn't realise at the very beginning of my journey but figured out through the first I'd say 6 months is there's a lot of Facebook groups that you can be a part of. So for Galaxy there was a UK Galaxy Girls page which you can join, and you can speak to all the other girls, you can ask each other questions and you can start building relationships, which is really nice. But also there are just groups about pageantry in general. There's one called the Pageant Advice, Motivation and Empowerment group, and lots of people post all different things on there. There'll be different appearances you can go to, people starting conversations about things, different just like tips. You can ask questions on there if you want to get some opinions from people. Lots and lots of different things on there. And also the Pageant Society UK is another one that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's another group very similar that you can go and join as well. So in terms of YouTube and where I've been going on YouTube to find out my pageant information, one of them has been Danny Walker. So she talks a lot about, she's American, she talks a lot about pageantry worldwide, has a lot of knowledge of the pageant industry. She talks about everything from that winning hair, the winning smile. She talks about contestants that she thinks are going to do really well in different competitions, and it's just a really good way of getting more involved in the pageant world and seeing everything that's going on, and just hearing little, there's certainly things that you assume when you start, or there's things that you might start to hear from people, or you see people, for example, wearing all the same style of shoe, and you feel like you have to buy a certain pair of shoes, which actually it's not about that. It's about wearing the shoes that you're going to be able to walk in the best and the most confidently, and being able to be connected with all these different kind of resources shows you that that's not necessarily the case, and will help you to not make the mistakes of maybe buying shoes that you're not going to be able to perform well in and those kind of things. So definitely you can go look her up on YouTube. I'll put it in the description box like I said. Another person that I think is great for you to have a look at, especially if you're competing in Galaxy, is Misha Grimes. Before I went to International, I watched her vlogs of her at Galaxy International, and it really helped give me a flavour of what to expect for the week, and give you a bit of inspiration. You see the different outfits and things that people were wearing there, different hairstyles, and plus just gets you really excited. It really got me ready and raring to go to America. So I think just having a look, there's probably other people out there. If you look up pageantry related channels on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find somebody that you find really relatable, and that you can find out some extra information and tips from. Okay, so I've just got a couple more, and these are podcasts. So Alicia Darby, who wrote the book, this book Beauty, Truth and Grace that I mentioned earlier in the video, she also has a podcast which is How to Win a Pageant podcast, and this is something that I listened to all the time when I first started pageants, and I would just listen to an episode a day when I was commuting somewhere, or if I just had some free time before I went to bed, and just get some headphones in and listen to those, and they're really motivational, and again you'll pick up some tips and tricks that you might not otherwise have found out or really thought of. The final thing that I'm going to mention today is Jessica Barkley, a contestant for Ms. Galaxy this year, has just started her own podcast as well, which is called the Pageant Land Podcast. There's lots of interviews on there and discussions around different parts of competition and preparing for competition, so that's another one to make sure you look out for and go and listen to as well. So probably the thing that I'd like to end this video on is just to remind people that it's okay to reach out to other girls as well. I feel like when I first started my journey, I was quite nervous to reach out to other girls. I didn't know what they'd be like or what they'd think of me, and I think pageants in general grow your confidence, and I actually started a website called Stories of Self-Love, which is all about queens' confidence stories and how they've grown their confidence, which I'll also link below. But it really does grow your confidence over time. But I think when you first start, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. If a girl wanted to reach out to me now and chat to me, I'd be more than happy to give any advice that I was able to give. There's girls that have been in the pageant industry a much longer time and would also, I'm sure, be happy to speak to you and give you some tips and things as well. So yeah, just don't be afraid to reach out to people. There are a lot of friendly, helpful people within the pageant industry, and if you try reaching out to a couple of people, I'm sure you'll find somebody that is going to give you some advice and tips and a little bit of information when you first start as well. So thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more pageant related content or anything else, then please comment below and let me know what videos you would like me to do. I really enjoy making these videos, so I would love to continue to make them, and it would be great if I knew what it is that you'd like to see. Please subscribe to the channel if you are interested in seeing more from me, and like this video if you enjoyed it today or found it useful. Thank you for watching.